I mentioned in one video a man called Greg Byworth, and I called him evil, which I still think it's the right word. When I first met him, Ken told me that he had a prison record, and he wouldn't tell me what for. But it should have rung a few alarm bells, shouldn't it? But for some reason, I assumed it was petty stuff. Here in Wales, in a place I know quite well, not all that far from where my dog Flossie is buried, he was done for, again, something that you would think comparatively trivial, even as an animal lover. He was done for something to do with dogs. He had some fake dogs, dog shelter. If I googled it, I'd remember the details. He is now in Australia, in Perth. But that's not the point of this. Some things are enough to make you believe in the devil incarnate. You just don't see how they could have happened, even by the hand of man. In 2002, I was raped by a man called K.M. Sumra. He was acquitted, but I'm still going to say I was raped by a man named K.M. Sumra, because I was. And he was acquitted because his previous victim, or one of his previous victims, was not considered well enough to testify. Her name was Amber Mattingly. And at one point I was trying to back out of the court case. I'd had enough. It had gone on for a year, waiting for it to come to court. And I was losing confidence in testifying. And at that point, the prosecutors made damn certain that I saw the name Amber Mattingly. It was on a piece of paper on a corner of a desk, and I couldn't possibly miss it. Well, of course, when I didn't get justice, neither did she. And for some reason in 2011, I googled her name. She had been killed in the previous year when she drove her bike into the side of an articulated lorry in broad daylight one morning. This was put down to her having headphones on, but I don't understand why the headphones prevented her from seeing it. The articulated lorry dead ahead of her. It did remind me an awful lot of my half-sister's crash. And I believe that either she crashed her bike into that lorry deliberately, or something similar with a brake cable. A cut brake cable had happened. And again, I haven't come to the point. I went into her memorial page, and lo and behold, I saw that her family were friends with the Byworths, and the right Byworth, the wife of Greg Byworth. That puzzled me a lot. I had known Greg Byworth, and I had turned him into the police as being a member of a porn ring. She had known Greg Byworth, and years after I turned this man into the police, I got raped by the same man who raped Amber Mattingly, but it wasn't Greg Byworth. It was K.M. Sumra. So suddenly we had two things in common. We'd been raped by the same man, and we knew the same pornographer stroke crook stroke whatever. So that was one thing that happened in 2011. And as it turned out, okay, I'm prepared to chalk this one up to coincidence. She crashed her bike into the lorry on the 23rd of March, 2010. The 23rd of March was Elian's birthday, and Elian was the mother of Fiona, who was murdered. I think I'm prepared to chalk that up to coincidence, but I'm not quite sure. I just don't know what Greg Byworth had against her, because I think K.M. Sumra was given the green light to go for each of us. That's what I think. On the 29th of July of the same year, 2011, I googled another friend of mine, an old friend of mine, whom I had known had terminal cancer and hadn't been able to see. Well, she didn't want to see me in the final stages, which I can understand. But I had never had any further information as to what happened to her. I'd gone to her house twice, and it looked as if she was still there, same curtains at the windows. So I googled her name on the 29th of July, which was the anniversary of Karen Ann's death. Exactly 1 week before that, Lynn, my friend's partner, also called Sue, had put a memorial on Find a Grave to Lynn. And she'd put the memorial on Find a Grave on the 22nd of July, exactly 1 week before I looked it up, before I googled Lynn's name. But that's not the point either. The 22nd of July was Karen Ann's birthday. And it doesn't end there. And I've had some doubts about Lynn, whom I loved very much as a friend. Very much. She was born around the corner from Karen Ann. So instantly there, I had 3 links to Karen Ann. Well, with Lynn, alone. She lived practically around the corner, which I hadn't known. Her memorial had gone up on Karen Ann's birthday, and I'd looked it up on the anniversary of Karen Ann's death. Now, no one could possibly foresee that I would do that, surely. But I did wonder how much her partner Sue had known about Karen Ann. To put the memorial up on the 22nd of July, Karen Ann's birthday, to state very clearly that Lynn had been born in Witten. And in actual fact, in that 1 year, I had 3 links to Karen Ann through my half sister, through my late friend Lynn, and 1 through Amber Mattingly, who died in exactly the same way as Karen Ann.